are at the water's edge, blindfolded, thinking about that new moon up in the sky and wondering which way to go from here. Who am I?
That is so weird to me, because when I look at her, I learned her my traditional way of learning, because all traditionals are different. They're contradictory. They're all over the place. And from each different book, it's different. From each different teacher, it's
Yes.
different. I learned her as pure stubborn. Like, she's already made up her mind. She's not thinking about which way to go. She's staying right there. But
Yeah.
so many people that 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 I've spoken to see her as making a choice.
Yeah.
And I have to remember that if that's the way you learned it and that's the way you see it, absolutely. But to me, I look at her and she's like, "Oh hell no, I ain't going nowhere." I was like,
I see her in lots of different ways. I do sometimes see it as absolutely no, door is closed, go away. It's an absolute no. I get that,
yeah,
and the stubborn thing. But sometimes I do see it as someone who can't see their choices, or someone who doesn't want to be disturbed because they're considering their choices. It could be any of those things. And
okay, okay. I see
I'm
it
not.
with the not being disturbed, so she can
Yeah.
consider her choices. She wants her decision to come from inside her, not from anything outside of her to influence her. I get
Yes.
that.
Yeah. I honestly do go different ways with this card. I haven't kind of got a fixed go-to on it. I quite like this card. Sometimes I don't even go with her at all. Sometimes I will literally just go with the moon,
Oh, oh, okay.
because
That makes a lot of sense.
she's one of the 4 moon cards in the tarot. And if I'm just feeling moony, I will I will just look at the client, where the client's moon is in their chart, and go with that. So I'm very, very open on this, even though it's a closed sort of card.
Yeah, she is. Looking at her first glance, she's super close. 2 swords up, and the strength and determination that it would take to hold 2 swords up that way. I know
Yeah.
I've told you this, but it reminds me a lot when I was in boot camp. One of the ways that we would be punished was we would have to take 2 M16s and hold them out with our arms completely straight and just hold them by the barrel tops. Like, there's this
Wow.
little clip on the barrel, like a figure 4, and you would have that between your fingers, and you would have to stay completely still holding those up. And if you move, you got thrashed. So she make having been through that particular punishment
Yeah.
several times, to me, the way she's holding those swords is comparable to that punishment, and and
Right.
and that determination to stay still to do it. You know what I mean? So again, it's
Wow.
that daggone military mentality that that
Yeah.
puts my view onto a card while I'm interpreting it.
Okay. Yeah. I don't think this is a bad card at all. I don't. I know, like, some of the swords can be quite brutal, but I don't see this one as being brutal. I mean, I see it as powerful. And sometimes it is powerful to say, no, I've made
Mm.
up my mind. I'm sticking to my guns. The answer is no. Now leave me alone, you know,
Yeah, it
test the power
takes.
and all of that. But as I say, sometimes I just see it as I've got choices, and I want to kind of, I want to think about my choices. So honestly, I can be really, really flexible with this card.
I'll have to remember that with the choices, because I just never understood. It's like, look, no, she's made up her mind. Look at her. It's like, but I've seen what you're saying where just leave me alone. And I've recently had a situation where I was trying to make my mind up about something, and the person kept coming at me, make up your mind,
Yeah.
make up your mind. And finally I was like, okay, I'm going to make it up the way you don't want me to because you're not giving me the space to do it,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I get that now. Thank you. Thank you,
Oh no, it's all
Mandy.
right.
That's
Yeah. No, it's a kind of an interesting card, and it is an interesting card because I have literally got no idea what I will say on this one because I can see it in different ways. What
yeah.
about reversed? How do you see it reversed?
Reversal, see, that's what I see in several different ways.
Ah,
Her relaxing her guard enough to be able to experience other things, or letting her guard down in a bad way sometimes too, like giving up that strength of purpose and just becoming mediocre because right now she's pretty phenomenal. So it could be anywhere from a lesser than, just a lesser willpower, to a complete giving up. Like, I give in. I'm
right.
going to listen to the rumors or the opinions of other people and be swayed by them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see all of that. Yeah, I kind of like feel that the decision is much more made in the reverse. She's definitely kind of gone. Well, she's not so closed, is she?
No, no. See, I think in the upright position, she could be missing key facts or key influences, because with the blindfold and the blocking off with the swords, she's just not letting in any more information at all.
Right.
And if you make your decisions based on the information you have, if that information isn't complete, you could make a really bad
Yeah.
decision.
But I honestly think the fact that there are the two swords there, even in the upright position, I think she does have choices, even if she can't see them for herself at that moment, you know. And I feel
Yeah.
like in the reverse, it's she can actually maybe see what her options are,
Yeah.
possibly. Yeah, it's like the
Yeah.
blindfold comes off. I'm just trying to think how many blindfolds are there. Two blindfolds in the Rider-Waite, that
Yeah.
this and the Eight of Swords.
I believe that's it, is those two.
Yeah,
And
I mean, there are other cards where visibility is limited,
yes.
but specifically a blindfold would be this or the eight. And yeah, I kind of like feel not being able to see. I find, right, literally blindness quite a terrifying thought, to be
Oh,
quite honest.
me too. Definitely. And I just,
I know, like, you would no doubt have a heightened sense of like smell or hearing or something like that. It would probably be compensated for in some other way, but not. I kind of feel sight is a really precious and important sort of thing, and obviously we do have like a third eye, kind of like an inner eye. And I think that's probably what this card is talking about, right? Like just not being able to see something for what it is.
yeah. Or what you just said, it could even be, wow, Mandy. So you're making me understand the Two of Swords a lot better. Could even be that she is closing off her regular sight and her other senses so she can open up her third eye to understand. I didn't even
Oh
consider
wow,
that.
that's nice.
I got that from
That's
what you
really
just
nice.
said. It's like, damn.
That's really, really nice. So going with that, how would that then transfer into reversed?
Closing off your intuition. Yeah, not
Yeah,
listening to those gut feelings.
yeah, yeah. But I still believe this character, this energy does have choices, whether she's aware of them or not. I
Yeah.
can see that in the card, the fact those two, and I think those choices lead somewhere because the edge of those swords is out at the edge of those swords is out of sight, but it might be a mystery where they lead, but there are two choices and they are going in different directions.
Yeah. Now that you've explained it, and the fact that you said she may not even know that she has choices.
Yeah.
So, but it always tripped me up. I was like, I just don't see it. But nobody's taken the time to explain it to me either. So I don't know if I would read with her with that interpretation. Don't know. But now that I understand it, I'm more inclined to. I'm not going to be so my two of swords about it. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like her. I think I have a natural attraction, I suppose, to all of the four moon cards in the tarot. You
Yeah.
know, with the high priestess and her and the eight of cups and the moon, you know. I just like them.
Well, you're Mandy
I
on the
feel,
moon.
yeah.
They give you extra layers of information because you do the moon work and you understand the phases of the moon so well. So you would be drawn to them because they give you extra information. That is so cool.
It's hard for me to not notice the moon in this card, or kind of like not to give some importance to the moon.
It's It is such an odd angle to me. It
Yes.
draws my eye, and sometimes I see it as things are slightly out of whack.
Mm.
And yeah, because it's at such an odd angle. I suppose it could be an eclipse, but as a moon, it's at an odd camp.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know whether the moon is at that angle in certain parts of the world, because would it depend on the tilt of? I don't know if it ever is at that angle
I don't
somewhere.
know.
I don't know. I don't actually know. If you happen to live in a part of the world where the moon looks like that, could you please let us know and tell us where you are?
Probably poor
Yeah.
Australia that everybody forgets is on the opposite side. It could be.
Right.
But still, I would think it would still look the same. We've got
I
to
would
go
have
to
thought. I would have
Australia.
thought so, but I don't know that for a fact at all. Do you have any Two of Swords stories? Has the Two of Swords ever kind of heavily featured for you?
No, not that I can think of. Not that I can think of. Usually, she comes up in a lot of stalemates in relationships.
Right.
Yeah. She usually comes up, not usually, but mostly comes up to me. Well, I guess that's the same thing as the person asking the question. Hey, you gotta start listening. You know, it's not compromise if the other person is doing all the work. You've got to put some work in too and stop whining and stop saying that you're doing everything. You're not, you know?
Yeah, but if it's interesting that you're saying that. But if she's kind of coming up as a stalemate, a bit like kind of not sure which way things could go here, don't
Yeah.
you ever hear yourself say exactly those words with the moon card? It's a mystery at the moment. Don't really quite know yet where this is all leading.
I'm of a totally different camp on the moon card. As
Okay.
far, yeah, and the moon card, when we get to that, we'll talk about that. The moon card's
Yes.
the hardest card to learn because so many different people see it in a different way.
Right.
But
Okay.
yeah, that would never um moon card in reverse, quite possibly. But moon card upright, probably
Okay.
not. But yeah,
Interesting.
usually it's like somebody not pulling their weight or somebody not willing to compromise.
Right. Well, I mean, yes, I can definitely see the kind of no, go away,
Yeah.
closed. Computer says no. Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that in this card, but I may or may not kind of like feel that I'm going that way with it. It just really depends on the reading and the question.
Yeah.
So, did you bring any twos?
I did. Let me pull one up. Okay, you ready for this? This is from
Yes.
Raven Phelan's Dreams of Gaia. I love this card. And
Oh,
this this is one two of swords that shows me choices. It also shows a duality.
yeah,
I mean, that's like radical choices, black or white, you know. And he
yes,
is the two of swords to me on the Rider-Waite feels like fixed air, but I can totally see mutable air here, which was talk about the choices. And he's got the
yeah,
scales so that he's balancing things out in a way that makes it more obvious to me that he's making choices.
yes, yeah. That's lovely.
Oh, I
That's a lovely
love,
card. Yeah.
yeah. So that is Dreams
I
of
mean,
Gaia.
I'm kind of seeing a little bit of the high priestess there with him, with with the two pillars, the black and the
Oh,
white pillar.
let me pull him. I did not even think about that.
And
So
she's
he
moon
would.
related, isn't she?
Yes, yes, she is. Yes, she is. Does he have any moon on him? I do not see any moon on him per se, unless that's it behind him. But that looks more like something growing out of scales. He has a very Gemini feel to me.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
But I didn't even
And
think of
it,
the
it
two
really is.
pillars.
It really is sort of two sides of the fence, isn't it? Like it could go one way or the other.
Yep. And I brought him specifically because he was the card that I could see that element of choices that other people see in.
It really is like sort of black or white, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
don't you just hate that though when you've got one of those decisions to make and you're so split down the middle like that?
Yeah.
It's it's so hard. And one minute you think you've decided, and then you get pulled in the other direction. I mean, oh God, like you can just drive yourself absolutely nuts. And that's when you need a good tarot reading, I think.
I agree. I agree. Don't be making all those decisions without all the information. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so
Gosh, very
let's
nice.
see what you brought.
No, I didn't bring a card. I brought a video. Right. So a bit of, yes, I just dug up like several two of swords just to show the difference, like how many kind of versions there are. So yeah, that's yeah, I just wanted to sort of like just show all the different artwork and how you absolutely have to read from the deck that you are holding, because although they all have something kind of of their own voice to say, um they all have their own sort of specific feel to it as well. So just kind of like to clarify on those. The two that well, actually, if you don't mind, I just want to briefly mention three of them. One of them is the Black Cat Tarot, which I think is really cute and really sweet. And they're kind of like, the two cats are in there, but they're kind of like on a river. They're literally in the river on top of a log with a piece of wood going across it. And they are like literally balancing. It's kind of like they're holding each other up, these two cats. It's like if one jumps off the seesaw, the other one goes down, you
Oh,
know?
I like that.
It's a very different feel to it,
Yeah.
It's they are supporting each other, and they're working as a team. I think it's really, really cute, this card. So that was kind of like one of them. I won't sort of talk too long about it, but it's a very, very sort of sweet, nice deck actually. And I might sort of show more cards on this deck sort of during this series. But yeah, they need each other. They absolutely need the two sides of that seesaw. It's not, if we don't want one to win over the other. It's like they're both essential.
Oh, I like that.
The next one I wanted to kind of like mention was the Tarot of the New Vision, where the artist has done the Rider-Waite deck, but from 180 degrees. So from the viewpoint of 180 degrees of where Pamela was sitting when she did it. So this is from behind the character sitting on the kind of slab. And in this particular instance, there's a horse kind of like coming towards her that she can't see, right? And I kind of think that really emphasizes the fact that if you are wearing the blindfold, you know, because you're so intent on whatever it is you're concentrating on, you're missing what else is coming at you.
Nice.
And she's literally got a horse galloping towards her, which, you know, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, it could be a catastrophic thing, because she's taken her eye off of the kind of, you know, the environment that she's in at that moment in time. It's a very interesting deck, actually, like seeing everything from completely the other perspective.
Yeah.
And it gets your imagination going or your intuition going, like, what else could be in the picture? It's like where we are now, we're just sitting here looking at each other, whereas kind of if we slightly changed our perspective, if there was a parallel universe, and even if I was sitting in the opposite direction, I might see a great big spider on the wall or something. I don't know. God, please not. You know, but sometimes we are so focused, and we always talk about being focused as being really direct and really good and really concentrating. But sometimes we can be too focused for our own good.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you know, and we do need to take into account what is going on around us sometimes. So that was the Tarot of the New Vision. And I particularly notice it in something like the Two of Swords because of the blindfold. Whereas at least with like the other cards, I mean, the same would probably apply to the Eight of Swords. But like at least with the other cards in the deck, the perspective of the artist is showing us from behind. So maybe what the characters are seeing, you know, rather than what the artist is kind of seeing. But in this one, this is what the character can't see.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
I know. And the last one I wanted to sort of mention, because it's so beautiful, and that's the last one, the Reflections Tarot. And you've got this amazing looking kind of like perfectly shaped woman. Because it's called Tarot of Reflections, you've always got a reflection of the kind of like the main character, if that makes sense. And it's showing there's three versions of this. You've got her in the middle with the blindfold going across, and then you've got a reflection either side of her of her face. One of them is with the sword going down, and the other one is with the sword going up. So it's kind of like in her blindness or in her meditation. However, I do see this as meditational in this instance. I see this is that she is actually considering what would happen if she loses the situation, weighed up against what would happen if she wins the situation. Because I'm kind of like picking up on the Ace of Swords here, but it could be upright or it could be reversed. And I just feel that she's absolutely realizing the possibility is equal, that it could go either of those ways. That's how I see that card.
Ooh. Nice. Okay. Okay.
So they've all got their own sort of special, I don't know, they are all, to me, they are all true to the Two of Swords, but they've got their own sort of special kind of like twist on it to kind of get you thinking. And I really, really like that. And as I say, there was three others that I pulled out, and I've got probably, I don't know, 40, 50 decks, and they're probably all different. All different, but I liked these.
I find it really, really funny that for both of us, you and me, it was fairly easy to narrow down cards for the Pentacles and for the Wands. But when we got to the Swords, it was like it took me. It was very difficult for me to narrow down the Swords. It's like I love all of these. It's like, which one do I bring?
I think it's because the Swords by nature is thought-provoking.
Yeah, that has to be that, man.
Yeah.
But I will try to keep narrowing it down. But I got that. It's
I
really
can't
difficult.
believe though that I own all these decks, and it's taken us doing these videos for me to actually look at what is sitting there. All that amazing stuff is just has been sitting there on my shelf, you know. And
But
finally I'm thinking, oh my God, this is so good.
well, so I'll buy decks, right? Occasionally, I make myself wait to buy a deck most of the time because if I buy it spur of the moment, I look at it once and then I put it somewhere in a safe place that I can never find it again. So I've got about, I'd say 56 decks,
Right.
maybe if I can find them all because they're all in these safe places. And I found my perfect deck. And Paul was like, so does this mean you're gonna stop buying tarot cards? I was like, hell no, we're doing deck of the week. I only got 56 decks. I want to live more than 56 months.
Oh,
So
that's
now we
really
have a
funny.
reason. We have a
Yeah. Oh my
reason.
God. Yes. Yeah. Well, that was really enjoyable, Sharon. So thank you. So if anybody else has got a favourite Two of Swords, or a Two of Swords story, or a Two of Swords interpretation that they would like to share, please message us. And please subscribe to this, like it, comment, tell your friends. And if you really, really can't sort of make a decision on something, give us a shout for a reading. We're here at the Pomegranate Grove. So thank you very much for listening, and we will see you at the Three of Swords.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I just dropped my.
Every time that happens, it looks like you fall, and it freaks me
said
out.
Three of Swords. I said Three of Swords, and I dropped my phone. Oh my God!
Oh, that freaked me out. It's like it looks like. All right,
It
this
was
is
that
a
giant
forewarning.
spider that came off the banana boat and came and got me.
Leaving it in for a foreshadowing of the Three of Swords or Wands or wherever the hell we're going.
See you at the. Okay, right. Bye for now. Bye.